Morning, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Morning, Bria. Yes.
Good morning.
Okay, I just realized I have my volume off, but it looks like y'all could hear me. I heard Juan at the very ending, so. Okay, morning, Evelyn, morning, Scott, morning, Maria, morning, Juan. Did y'all have a good weekend?
Yes. How was your weekend?
It was good, yeah. The Saturday dual career class was fun, so I felt like we had a good group and lots of participation, so that's always nice, especially on a weekend.
Yeah, it was a really good class.
Yeah, I'm glad you were there. Okay, so let me pull up my notes from last time. Okay, so let's start with our follow-up. So I'll start with Evelyn. I think last week you said you wanted to work on a social media post, maybe shortening down a longer one. Did you get a chance to do that?
Yes. So originally I wanted to do something similar to like the cover of Your First Home with all like the little loops of the triangles and all of that. Instead, I just opted in for more of like a search engine kind of deal. So I looked up one on Canva, like how to, and then it came up with like the little search bar and everything. So I put that, and then I auto filled in all the questions, like how to buy a home, how to save yourself the headache, so on and so forth. So I was able to complete that.
Okay, and then did you also finish your YouTube script as well?
So I did the TikTok one. I finished it yesterday. I finished the editing and everything. Um, I'm gonna finish the longer version for the YouTube one, hopefully today, if not tomorrow, so I can post by Wednesday.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, sounds good. Okay. And then let's see, Scott, did you get a chance to call your neighbors who have the vacant houses?
So I got onto the do not call registry. So I've been able to reach out to a couple of them. Out of 5, I reached out to 3. And it was just voicemails at this point.
Mhm.
So I'll just continue to pursue that. I was also able to scrub a list of other people that I have and I'm going to start working on that this week, running through that list. As some of them are on the do not call list, some of them are not, and just start running through there and see what I can drum up as far as that goes.
Awesome. Yeah. Where's the second list from?
It's just a list of coworkers and stuff that I had.
Okay.
And some of them I sort of know, and some of them I don't know really all that well altogether.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, if you don't know them that well, then it doesn't hurt to make sure they're not on that list. Because if it's your best friend, they're probably
Yeah.
okay with you calling you anyways. But yeah, for coworkers or things like that, that's a good idea. Yeah. And then let's see. Maria, I'm not sure if you're here or if you walked away, but did you get a chance to meet with any lenders? We'll give her a few seconds. She might have walked away. Okay. And then Erica, I think I have yours from a few weeks ago. So you did make your first social media post. Did you set yourself up on any smart plans to test those out?
Yes, I tested out I think the neighborhood nurture one on myself. And it's kind of weird. Like the first time it didn't really load. And then if I went back and looked at it a few days later, it was loaded. So I'm not sure what that's about.
Was it the graphic not loading or what aspect of it?
Yeah, like the content of the email, it wasn't totally blank, but it didn't have like the numbers weren't populated correctly, and then the photos weren't populated, but if you click on them it still takes you somewhere. And then after a couple of days I opened it back up and the numbers were populated. So I don't know what that's about.
That's interesting. That might be a question for Chris. Maybe because it was the first time you did it, it had that error. I would maybe let him know about that. And if it's a bug, he can submit it to command
Okay.
headquarters. And then I would obviously keep yourself on it and see if I think it does it twice a week, or at least once a week. Next time it comes out, see if it's fixed. And if not, let me know or let Chris know.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. And then Juan, I think a couple weeks ago, you said you wanted to make some phone calls. Did you get a chance to do that?
I have not, or I did actually. I had a client that I was trying to work with, but she wanted me to list a mobile home and then help her buy the mobile home. So I had referred it to another agent that is at another brokerage, and it turned out that she's going through some legal issues with her ex-husband on title or something. So I just have to keep following up on that one.
Yeah. Did you figure out if she owned the lot or if she leased it?
No, she leased a lot but owned the mobile home. But
Okay.
yeah, I just think that I don't know if we're just not able to do it through our office, but that the other brokers that I was working with, they definitely are able to do it even if they rent a lot.
Do they do, they might do leases. So leases are considered different than representing buyers and sellers. So since she was leasing the lot, and didn't own it, we couldn't sell the lot. And then the mobile
Yeah.
home, since it's leased or the lot is leased, the mobile home is considered personal property, like similar to like them owning a car. So yeah, maybe that other brokerage does leases. But yes, like you said, I would definitely continue to follow up with her, make sure she's happy with that other service and that she's helped. And if maybe she isn't happy or there's something else you can help with, then it's just a way you're able to stay in contact and in relationship. And she could maybe one day buy a lot for her mobile home or
Yeah.
be a source of referrals. So yeah.
Yeah, I need to talk to the other agent and see. From what she explained to me was every office has different rules. So she said maybe your office doesn't want to deal with mobile homes, which is fine. And so I need to ask her exactly what they do though to sell the mobile homes because they sell them a lot. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep following up with the client and the agent.
Okay, yeah, they may be able to sell personal property. I'm not sure, but yeah, I would definitely get more info from that agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, anyone have anything else they want to share? Any wins from this last week? It can be something small. Anyone? I'll volunteer a couple of people. Erica, you got your Instagram set up and made your first post.
Yes.
Yeah. And do you want to share how you shared a little bit of business versus personal on that?
Yes. So I decided to do, I did my first post and I decided to do like a 5 things about me kind of situation. So I sort of talked about where I'm from, some of my hobbies, and also what I do for work, which is real estate. And some people know that I'm also a lawyer. So I shared that about myself as well.
Yeah, I think that was a great mix of adding a little bit of personal details on a professional post. And I think when I commented on it, I saw that someone else had commented related to one of the personal things you shared. So sometimes it might be personal aspects or posts that people comment on more, but they're at least still seeing the business part of the post as well. So that's great. Anyone else have anything they want to share? Nope. Okay, so now we have quite a few upcoming classes. So I just wanted to make sure y'all are seeing these on the calendar and hopefully able to attend some of these. So Tomorrow we have the Growth and Opportunity Committee and then the Regional Coffee and Profit Share that we're combining into one time block. So you may have seen Debbie post in the Facebook group about this. It'll be tomorrow from 9 to 11 in this office / on Zoom. So if you're not sure what profit share is, it's essentially passive income that you can build by recruiting people to join Keller Williams. And so this can be people from your sphere, other agents, or anyone that you come across. So if you're interested in helping grow Keller Williams or build passive income in that way, then I would definitely attend and learn more about that. And then Wednesday, we have the time block for lead generation. So that's in person only since it's supposed to be a working time block. So that's from 9 to 11. I'll be hanging out in this training room doing my lead gen, and you're welcome to come join and do your lead gen alongside me. And it can be anything that you want to do. I'm not going to make you call or do certain activities. You're welcome to focus on your lead gen methods. And then we also have right after that from 11 to 12:20, we have an intro to home inspection class with a home inspector. So if you're not quite sure what all goes into the home inspection part of the buying process, I would attend this class and make sure you, I think it'll be recorded. So I'll try and pull the link, but it will be a great class to attend. And then also same day, Wednesday, 12:30 to 2:30, we have the Productivity Coaching Skills Lab. And I believe we're going through the listing presentation. So I know some of y'all have had questions like, what do I say once I get a seller? What do I bring to that appointment? So this will go over those things, and that'll be on Zoom as well. And then, so Wednesday is a packed day. So if you're able to come into the office or join via Zoom, that's a great day to try to come in. And then Thursday, we have what your buyers expect you to know about home loans. I think that's being taught by Mitch from 10 to 11:15. So like the inspection class, it's being taught by a person that deals with this aspect of real estate. So it's always great to learn from the direct source when you can. And then also on Thursday, we have our Market Center happy hour at Clancy's from 4 to 7. So for those of y'all who are dual career, if you're able to make this at 5 or 5:30 or whenever you can stop by, this would be a great event to attend. I'll be there, and I would love to see all of y'all there. So any questions about these events? Nope. And then I also just wanted to include a reminder to schedule one-on-ones for this month. I think Evelyn, Erica, and Juan have theirs scheduled, and Connie. Maria and Scott, I'd love to get y'all on the calendar before the end of March, just to make sure I answer all y'all's questions and I'm helping y'all move forward with your business. So if you're able to schedule that, I believe I texted y'all the link last week, but let me know if you need it again. And then, okay, any questions about what we've gone over? Nope. Okay, so now let's go into our lead gen focus, which we're going to be going back to the playbooks since, as I mentioned last time, these were released by Keller Williams around family reunion, and these essentially go through the entire process of the lead generation method. So today we're going to focus on the open houses one. So remind me, I know Connie and Juan have held an open house. Has anyone else done one? So I think Scott has. Is that correct?
I shadowed one.
Okay, that counts. Yeah. So that's great. And then Scott, did you shadow one as well?
Yeah, I shadowed that one that was in Brighton.
Okay. And let's see, Erica, I don't think you've done one, and Maria, I don't think you have either. Okay, awesome. Okay, so hopefully for those who have shadowed or are interested in holding their own in the future, hopefully this will give y'all more of a system and help you feel more prepared with these. So let's start. So this section just goes over some of the myth understandings or limited beliefs around open houses. So for example, the first one, buyers who come to open houses are not ready to buy. Typically, these buyers are further along in their process because they're actually to the point where they want to see the homes in person instead of just looking at them online. So I think this is a great lead generation method. And just a little bit of background about me, I held a lot of open houses when I first started as an agent, and I got my first client and closing through an open house. So we won't go through all of these, but let me see. This number 2 is a great one because I think during COVID, there was a time where we thought that no one wanted to see a house in person. They were okay with seeing maybe a 3D floor plan or a walkthrough. However, we've really seen since then, and if that people really do want to see the house in person, they want to know what it feels like, what it smells like sometimes. So holding, especially if you have a listing open, is great. So you can get people to come through and see it in person. And then, yeah, so there's 8 of those. So those are great. If you have any limiting thoughts around these, I would just read what Keller Williams has put, because they've taken the myth understandings and top limiting beliefs from what they've heard from agents and tried to help you through those. So actually, before we move on, are there any of these that y'all have thought that you want to go through?
Not necessarily from that list, but I had heard that it's our Keller Williams, like, I guess, direction or whatever, that we can't do an open house alone. Is that true?
No, I mean, Margaret puts together a lot of those shadow opportunities for new agents because that's super helpful, and a lot of people want to shadow. However, you don't have to, and she does partner people together as well. However, you don't have to. When I held them, I typically held them by myself. One thing to consider is if the open house is super busy, it can be hard to talk to everyone. So that's when you might want to have a partner. Another thing is safety. So I mean, anytime you're going into a house, even if it's just first showing, I would be very careful, make sure no one's in the house, make sure you know how to get out, and you have your, I would always keep my keys in my pocket and my phone. So if I needed to run out of the house, I could. And then I also would sometimes carry pepper spray as well. Unfortunately, sometimes things happen. So if you're especially nervous about safety, I would partner with someone. However, I wouldn't let that hold you back in terms of like waiting until you can find a partner. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other thoughts or questions?
Sorry, I missed it all. My kids are just a little not feeling well, but I'm here.
Oh, no worries, Maria. Sounds good. Okay, so let's go to the next section. So here's the system and the steps to follow when you're getting prepped. So the first is to pick the right house. So the house that will likely have more people come through and more traffic. So once you get your own listings, yes, I would absolutely hold those open. Another great home to target is new to market homes or relatively new. So I would look at the average days on market for that area. So that's the average days it takes to go under contract. Say that average is 120, then I would maybe try to hold an open house that's 90 days or less. If the average is 30 days, I would try to hold an open house that's 2 weeks or less. So it varies dependent on your area and sometimes dependent on the neighborhood. So I wouldn't just discount a home if it's been on the market for longer than 50 plus days. I would look into the data a little bit more. Another one is low inventory neighborhoods. So maybe there's only one listing in that neighborhood or that area, or there's only one type of house in that area. And then a mid-range priced home. So this is average priced homes. The average priced homes are the homes that are, you know, probably have more potential buyers, especially if it's in an area that maybe first-time home buyers buy in. So you could target that group of people by trying to hold the average, the listing or hold open homes that have the average price. So does anyone have any questions about these homes? Picking one out. Okay, and then I recommend starting to work on setting up the open house on Monday or Tuesday. Sometimes, like when I would hold open houses, I would reach out to a bunch of agents, and some of them would either ignore the message or say no, maybe because there was a tenant or an owner living in there who didn't want to leave. So I would typically reach out to a batch of people on Monday, like 10 plus agents. And sometimes I would get an open house set up for the weekend, sometimes not. And then I would need to do it again on Tuesday. I think especially, I know some of y'all, I think Scott and Juan, y'all were y'all able to find an open house a couple of weeks ago, or were you not successful?
I got into an open house last weekend with Stephanie in
Okay.
Golden.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I think as the market is changing, it might be potentially harder to get one. However, what that means is you just need to reach out to more agents to try to get it. So by doing this on Mondays or early on in the week, you have more time to get it set up. And then for everyone, I think almost everyone on here has social media as one of their lead gen methods. So the earlier you get the open house set up, the more time you have to push it out through your other lead generation methods into your database. So the more like bang for your buck you can get out of holding an open house. So any questions about step one?
So is there any concern with posting on social media so early if the house were to come off of the market before you're able to do, to host the open house? Like if you attain the open house on Monday and then Wednesday the house sells, Tuesday you've been posting on social media that you're doing the open house, but now you can't do the open house because
Yeah, I would post it anyways. And if that happened, then I would maybe make a follow-up post and say something like, this home has gone under contract. However, here are 3 more homes that match this criteria. Let me know if you're interested in these and we can set up a showing. So I would not let that hold you back. I wouldn't go back and delete that content. I would leave it up. And I mean, that house will go under contract eventually. So if someone's scrolling back through your posts, like months past, they're going to see info that's out of date, but that's okay. So yeah, I would just give it the benefit of the doubt that it's going to stay on the market and just push it out. And I think with the market we're in, homes aren't going under contract in, a day. So I think I think you'll be fine setting them up on Monday or Tuesday instead of waiting until Thursday or Friday. So does that help? Okay, any other questions? Okay, so now let's go through creating marketing materials. So they have flyers, a registration sheet, and scorecards. I typically would create a flyer in Command and then have a sign-in sheet or registration sheet. I never did a scorecard, but that's essentially asking, or I think what they mean is asking for feedback on the house. If it's your listing, I would consider doing that to get more feedback. However, typically people will just tell you feedback as they're leaving the home. So you could just take note of that and pass it along to the listing agent. It's considered a best practice to let the listing agent know how many people came through and any feedback you got. Sometimes like I received feedback like maybe the yard could be cleaned up or something like that, that the listing agent then wanted to take action on. So I think it's important if they're allowing you to hold open their listing to try to give them your results and data so they can move forward. And if there are any agents that come into the open house, I would get their business card or info and pass that along to the listing agent as well. So does everyone know how to create marketing materials for this? Evelyn's nodding. Does everyone else know how to do it? Evelyn, where did you create your marketing materials, or how did you do it?
Well, through Command, through design. I mean, there's some pretty good ones there that you could just swap out the information for, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah, let me pull up command so we can go through that really quick. Okay, so let's start with social. Has anyone created an open house post or social media post through command yet?
No.
I posted my open house on Facebook through command.
Okay,
What I did last time is I'm working with this lender and she printed out a lot of flyers for me, which has both of our informations on it. So her as a lender and me on there too.
yeah, and Mitch, our in-house lender, does that as well. And I
Okay.
think it's the same thing where he puts his info on the bottom too.
Mhm.
So yeah, a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
really good.
yeah, lenders or like title companies sometimes will provide those resources for free as long as they can put their info at the bottom. So let's see. So under auto create, they have open house. So it looks like the first three are story templates, and then the next three are just square social media ones. So these are great. So Scott, you said did you create one of these social media ones?
Yeah, and then I was able to pull the listing and get like photographs and stuff and just drop it right into the
The template?
template.
Yeah, Erica and I were talking about that this morning. So yes, yeah, you can pull the listing info instead of having to toggle back and forth between the MLS and command. You can pull it in through the Keller Williams listing system, and it definitely saves time when you're creating these graphics. So does anyone have any questions about creating their marketing materials through command? Nope. Okay. So now let's go through the next step, market the open house. So the first is to invite your database, invite the neighborhood or neighbors, and then post to social media. So with your database, you can send an email through command. You could also combine that with posting on social media. You could also call or text them. I think social media and an email are great, and those you can do through command as well. Does everyone know how to create a standalone email in command? We went through this last time, although does everyone remember that?
What is it called again? A standalone email?
Yeah, so let me just show you.
Thank you.
So these smart plans are a series of emails or activities that are automated once you add someone to the smart plan. So you could set up a smart plan or use one of the ones in the library that has maybe 6 automated emails over the course of 6 weeks. However, if you're just wanting to send a standalone email, so just one email, you can set it up as a campaign. And so this is also where you can run ads as well, but under the email section, you can set up standalone emails. So for example, our group coaching meeting emails that I send you every Sunday, because the topic changes every week and because I typically don't set the topic until Sunday or Saturday, I do this as a standalone email instead of a smart plan because I want to be able to put the topic in the email. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions about sending standalone emails? And what you could do is you could create a graphic in Designs and then pull it into the email if you want to add more of a design element versus just a text email. But I think an email to your database and a social media post is great. And as you start to meet people at open houses and add them to command, you can also create a tag, maybe that's open house attendees, and you could send a separate email that's more targeted toward those people who are actively looking at open houses versus people in your database who maybe aren't as far along in that process. So any questions about emails or inviting your database? Okay. For those of y'all who have shadowed, did y'all invite your database or do any marketing around your database for it? Evelyn says
No, I
yes.
didn't.
Oh, okay. Got it, Juan. Evelyn, you were nodding. What were you gonna say?
So when I shadowed, the agents that I helped shadow, they did all the marketing material and passed it on to me. And I just posted it on my social media pages saying, hey, there's going to be an open house. It was kind of a last minute thing. So I only got like less than 24 hours to promote it, but that's how I did it.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, if they're willing to create those and share it with you, that's completely fine. And yes, sometimes you won't know until last minute. However, the more time you have to prepare, the more you can leverage your open house within your other lead gen methods, like I mentioned earlier. And then Juan, I think, didn't you door knock one time with Emiliano for an open house? You walk away. I thought he did that. So that would be a great activity to invite the neighbors. Door knocking is probably the most purposeful activity for that. You could also pull the phone numbers and call them. However, you would likely need to pay for those numbers and then scrub them through the do not call list and then call them. So depending on the weather, it may be more enjoyable just to get out there and door knock the morning of or the day before. So has anyone done any door knocking? Evelyn, was it just your apartment door knocking that you did?
Correct. Yes. It was for
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's actually another good idea. You could door knock an apartment complex near the open house. You definitely need to get permission though from the management company and leasing office. So that is something to look into though. Maybe if the neighborhood is not the best one to door knock in, or there's not many houses, if you want to do that, you could look to surrounding apartment complexes as well. And then last one, post to social media. This is probably the easiest one to do. So I think for every open house, you definitely should post something on social media before the open house leading up to it. And I also think it's great to post while you're there. Snap maybe a video of you saying hi in front of the kitchen. It could just be a 10-second video, but it's great to show when you're actually at the open house. So any questions about marketing the open house? Nope. Okay, so now let's go over get ready to host. So set out signs and arrive early. So there are some people that set out 20 to 30 signs. However, it definitely depends on the area that you're holding the open house in. Sometimes dependent on the intersections, you may only have like 1 or 2 intersections to put the open house signs up. If that's the case, I would double those. So instead of putting 1 sign at the intersection or at the turn, I would put 2 to 3 to make it really stand out. And I would try to put as many signs up as possible. Oh, got it, Evelyn. Okay. And then when it comes to arriving early, when I held open houses, I'm trying to remember because it was so long ago, but I would typically arrive 30 to 45 minutes early after. It would be 30 to 45 minutes at the house. I would get everything set up, get some social media posts done, and then sometimes people would arrive 10 or 15 minutes early. So I had that done and I was ready for the people that arrive early. And if there was no one that arrived early, I always brought my laptop. So I was able to get some other work done if no one was there. But I would also try to get more social media posts as well. So for those who have held open houses or shadowed, what time did y'all arrive for that?
About 30 minutes earlier.
Okay, awesome. Scott, what about you?
So I was probably like 2 hours early, but I was trying to door knock because it was an open house on a Sunday. And when I called the agents that ran that same open house on Saturday, they said that they had not gone and door knocked. So I proceeded to door knock the neighborhood before. The neighborhood, unfortunately, it seemed like a large chunk of the homes all had no soliciting signs in front, so I wasn't gonna bother them on a Sunday. Um,
Yeah. You always get some of those signs and it's good to check for those as you're walking up to the house. And yeah, that's great. So yeah, if you want to arrive early and door knock, and that's also a chance for you, if you're putting a sign in someone's yard, you definitely need to ask permission. So if you kind of knock that out while you're door knocking and ask those specific owners. So any questions about getting ready to host? Nope. Okay. And then when you're at the open house, I try to set up near the front door. Sometimes there's a dining room right off the front door, or I'll stand nearby and greet everyone when they come into the house. I would always ask someone, like some sort of, it's great to start with an initial question, like, have you gone to view any other homes recently? Or do you live in the neighborhood? Living in the neighborhood is a great one, because then they typically tell you if they're a seller wanting to look and compare it to their home, or if they're a buyer. So once you know whether they're potentially a seller or buyer, you can kind of lead the conversation in that direction. So I try to ask a lot of questions, have a good conversation with them, get their information, their contact information, and then that leads us to the next section, which is follow-up. So one thing that happened to me a lot of times is they would ask questions that I didn't know and that the listing agent probably knew the answer to. So that was an excuse to make sure I got their information and followed up with them later that day or the day after. So if anyone asks a question that you're not sure what the answer is, I wouldn't try to make anything up, just let them know that you're going to get the answer and follow up with them. So that's an initial easy task to follow up with. With the people that have held or shadowed open houses, have you done any follow-up activities since then?
No, I plan on following up this weekend though with two people that I spoke with at the open house.
Okay, awesome. What were you planning on doing to follow up with them? Was it calling them, or what activity?
One of them I was gonna send them a message or an email, and the other one is she's younger, and her boyfriend are looking to buy, but not until like the end of the year. So I was just gonna call her and see if she'd like me to put her on a market nurturing plan, or just to keep her updated on the neighborhood, and I could keep her in my database and just kind of see where it goes from there.
Yeah. So there are broadly kind of two versions of smart plans. There's the more short-term smart plan where you're wanting to contact them more often through phone, text, email, and other methods. And then there's the more long-term one, like in that case where they're not ready to buy yet, and yet you want to stay in touch with them. So yeah, I think the neighborhood nurture one is great. And that's a great excuse also to kind of narrow down on her criteria and get the specific neighborhood or area that she's interested in, so that you can set her up on that smart plan. And then Scott, have you done any follow-up activities?
So the one open house I went to, there was no prospects whatsoever that came in. Command did prompt the one person I was able to talk to doing door knocking. It looks like that's on the schedule for Wednesday or Thursday this week. So maybe obviously I'll give her a call or send her a text or something. Because she was a renter, or she was renting within the neighborhood. But really had no plans of buying anytime soon. But when she does buy, she is looking for land somewhere. So
Okay, awesome. Wait, were you going to say something else?
I was just going to follow up with her this week and see how things were going and see if there's anything I could do to assist. But as far as following up with anybody that came into the open house, there just wasn't anybody that came in. So there was no follow-up to be done.
Yeah, and you said that Command prompted you to do that follow-up this week. Do you have them on a smart plan for that?
I have her on 2 smart plans. I have her on the neighborhood nurture, which looks like it dropped her an email for the neighborhood earlier this week, or I guess over the weekend, probably yesterday, I guess. And then she's just on like a quarterly phone call.
Mhm. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a good time frame. If they're more long-term business, I think sticking them on your quarterly call plan that you do with your database or your sphere is great. And if they're more short-term, like they're ready to buy right now, then I would definitely call them every few days or every at least every week to try to get in front of them. And then I will add, all of these activities leading up to the open house will definitely help you get more people to come visit it. However, if no one visits it, then I would try to use that time to get more social media content or do something else around lead gen. And, you know, for example, the people in your database aren't going to know that no one came to the open house unless you tell them that, which you don't have to tell them that. So you can still post about it and still market it and try to do some lead generation activities through that. So even if no one shows up, I would still try to get something out of it in terms of lead gen. So, and then has anyone else done any follow-up activities from open houses? Nope. Okay, good.
Can you repeat that, Bree?
Oh, sorry. Has anyone else done any follow-up activities from holding open houses? I don't think you've held one, Maria. Nope. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sounds good. So yeah, in terms of following up, I would, in your conversation with them, I would try to figure out whether they're more short-term business or long-term. If they're short-term, I would follow up with them every few days or every week with a variety of communication methods like emails, calls, texts, and social media. And I would set up some sort of smart plan around that. If they're more long-term, I would set them up on a quarterly call or text plan like you do with your sphere, and maybe something like the neighborhood nurture where you're still providing data and something of value over time. So does anyone have any questions about those different smart plans and trying to figure that out? Nope. And I will say, if you don't know, I would put them on the more short-term one. And then if they are more long-term, they'll typically respond or let you know that they are more long-term, and then you can make that adjustment. But when in doubt, I would reach out to someone more often, and that way you can get more information and then adjust your actions and help them in the best way possible. You don't want to accidentally miss a lead because you haven't followed up enough. So any questions about this system?
So would quarterly be potentially too soon for somebody that's renting and they're in like a lease that's 15 months, a year?
I don't think so. I mean, if you're calling them and saying, are you ready to buy? Then that would probably be a little frustrating to them. But if you're calling them and providing something in terms of value, not just that, like maybe you're calling to ask them if they want to be added to the neighborhood nurture plan. If they've narrowed down a neighborhood, you're calling to ask them if they need any info about maybe local businesses to try to help narrow that down. If you're calling with various things of value and not just saying, are you ready? Then I think it's a really great idea to call them quarterly. It could also just be a care call like you do with your sphere, where you're just calling to ask how their work is going, or how, if they viewed any more open houses, or just more casual questions like that. Does that help?
Yeah, maybe I just need to come up with a list of questions and stuff that are not necessarily salesy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would start with the Ford script, those care call questions. And then, yes, I don't think it hurts to come up with a list of open house related casual questions, like, have you gone to view any more open houses? I think that's great. You can also ask if they've been viewing homes online, a lot of people start online and especially on Zillow. So that could be an opportunity to put them on a neighborhood nurture or on an auto email through the MLS. Do you have any thoughts on any other questions to add to the list?
No, I was just writing some stuff down, so.
Okay. Okay, got it. Okay, sounds good. Okay, any other questions or thoughts about this system? Nope. Okay, so we kind of broke it down based on how I held open houses. However, the playbook then breaks everything down further. So, for example, they break down the registration sheet. You can do either a paper one where you have people sign in with a pen and paper, or you could do some sort of digital landing page. It's up to you on how you want to do that. But this playbook is great because it breaks down everything further. So even an example flyer, scorecard, marketing, posting, and then all the way to follow up. And then here are some great scripts or conversation starters around the open house. So there's the Monday circle prospecting follow-up. So circle prospecting is when you call around the neighborhood to let them know about the open house. So it's called circle prospecting because you're prospecting in a circle around the open house typically. And then this is the tech breakdown. So like with the KW codebook that we went through last time, they have broken down some of the steps directly in Command. So for example, it goes over searching for the listing and bringing that information into the template, like how Scott mentioned, he was able to do that pretty easily. So any questions about the Command tech side of this? Nope. Okay, so let's just keep scrolling. And I will add, anytime you do an action like call or text someone or have a conversation with them on social media, I would log that activity in Command. Does everyone know how to log that activity? I'm not seeing yeses or nos. Does everyone know how to do that? Do you want me to show you how to do it? Okay. Okay, and so that was the last one. The remaining part of the packet was just these tech walkthroughs. So let's go to contacts. Okay. So I just pulled, I have my personal self added, so I can add myself to things and test things out. So if you have any tasks, it'll show up here. So if you can also go to the tasks section of Command. However, if you want to go to a specific person, you can see the task here and you can confirm that you have completed the task. You can also, under the timeline, which is the first one that pops up, you can add in activities. So I'm going to say note, and I'm going to say social media. Or actually, I'm going to say Facebook DM conversation. And then maybe I would add a note, wants to buy in August. And then I'm going to add that activity. So as you're having conversations and doing these activities, I would add the notes and then say the person calls you out of the blue one day and they're ready to buy. You can come to their page in Command and look through all of your previous notes and gather that information. It also shows up under the notes section. If you don't want to look at the entire timeline, you can just look at the notes section. And it shows the date, including the exact time that you added it, the title, and then, or the activity / title, and then the note that I added. So does that make sense to everyone? Okay. So let's see. So let me stop the share. Okay. So does anyone have any questions about what we went through today with the open house playbook? Nope. And what I will add, if you're not interested in doing open houses, some of the information we went over today, like some of the smart plans and things in command, you can use with other lead gen methods. So while we will focus on specific lead generation methods in some of these meetings, you can always take what you learned and apply it to another method or activity. So let me make sure. Okay, so now let's do our one thing for the next week. So I'd love for everyone to share one thing that they want to get done in this next week, whether it's related to open houses, another lead generation activity, or something else with their business. So Evelyn, I'll start with you.
So St. Patrick's Day is this Friday. That's going to be my big marketing event. So I'm going to focus this week on pretty much putting that finishing touches on that. And then I'll find the time to do the social media post on it as well.
Okay. Awesome. So around that's Thursday?
That's Friday.
Oh, Friday.
Yeah, the 17th.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, Scott, what about you?
So I just went out and got the Your First Home book. So I was gonna start posting some real estate stuff, maybe Tuesday, Thursday, and then trying to make sure that I'm on pace for Monday, Wednesday, Friday with like personal stuff. But I was gonna go through that page on the Google Share Drive that has all the listing of pages and stuff to start posting real estate.
Yeah, that Charles put together.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
gonna start trying to do like Tuesday, Thursday, have stuff, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, try to have something personal in there.
Mhm. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, that's a great resource to pull information from. Awesome. Okay, Maria, what's your one thing for the next week?
I'm trying to learn the CMT for contracts. I'm having an issue writing my contracts every single time. I don't know if it's just not sending them to them because I send it to myself and I don't get it. So I desperately need help.
Oh, really? Yeah. Did you look at those tutorials I
I
mentioned?
sure did. Didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know. Let's connect after this, this call, because yeah, they can be a little clunky to figure out. So, okay, sounds good. Okay. Juan, what about you? What's your one thing? He may have
I
said,
was trying to unmute it. The one thing for me to do this week,
yeah.
follow up with the two people that I talked to from the open house.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good. Okay, Erica, what's your one thing? You walked. All right, Connie, we'll go to you. What's your one thing for this week?
I have to limit it to one thing.
It can be a few things.
I know, like get ready. Well, on Saturday, I did deliver about 30 sheets to around the neighborhood to put together the neighborhood directory that I've been talking about. And so hopefully getting responses from that and putting together some kind of an activity for us and to start pull this neighborhood together and let them know about my being in real estate in a soft and inviting way, so that they're not, what is it, smelling commission breath or whatever. And but all the technology pieces of it, putting together marketing materials, the contract thing, the whole thing, that's huge too. And then today at lunch, I'm having lunch with a potential buyer who reached out to me. I think I told you that last week. And so I'll be meeting her in about an hour. So there you go.
Awesome. Sounds good. Okay, those are great one things. So I'll follow up next week on that. And if y'all have any questions as you're working on that activity or any activities this week, let me know and we can schedule some time. Anyone else have any other thoughts or, oh, Erica's back. Erica, do you want to share your one thing?
Sorry, I might have stepped away. One thing that we're working on, I'm assuming, or
Yeah, one thing for the next week you want to work on.
so I want to work on posting more like real estate centric stuff on Instagram. Just kind of learning how to do that and learning how to use command to do that.
Okay. Awesome. Sounds good. Okay. Any last questions or thoughts before I let y'all go? No? Okay, sounds good. I hope to see y'all at one of the classes or at the happy hour this week, and I hope y'all all have a great rest of your Monday.
Thank you, Bria. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Bria. Have a good day.
Y'all too. Bye.